Congratulations on the brand new album. I've had a chance to sit down and take a listen, and it is an absolutely fantastic album. Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to hear that.
It's been such a weird 12 months. How difficult was it for you to all get together and record the album, just out of the sheer weirdness that the last 12 months has had with lockdowns and things?
Yeah, I mean, the short answer would be we did not manage to get together. It really was like one singer after another entering my studio, because in Germany we were to welcome one guest per household at a time. So it was really after the drum recordings that every singer was the only guest, and we did not manage to meet all together until early this year, when we recorded the videos. So it was a little bit a lonely year, so to say, from a band come together perspective. But of course, it also gave us a little bit more time in terms of songwriting and production. So there were positive and negative things about it.
Yeah. Did it make it more difficult as well? Because it sounds like it would have been difficult to have gone in one by one like that.
Yeah. So we have been used to have quite some logistics involved to come together, because we are spread all over Germany and even Europe. So CANTO is not the typical band that meets every Wednesday in the rehearsal room and just jams together. It's always been rehearsed before we go on tour. And for the recordings, it was not that special. But for example, in the former productions, we managed to have 2 or 3 singers in the studio. So if one singer needed a break, the production could just go on and record the next singer. This time, when a singer needed a break, we really had to take a break. So everything took a little bit longer. But compared to the effects of other bands that wanted to go on a tour in 2020 and that had to cancel or postpone everything, it was not a big deal for us producing the album.
Yeah. You mentioned about singers taking a break. Of course, being an a cappella group, vocals are everything. So tell us a little bit about how you go about protecting your voice and keeping your voice in perfect condition.
Yeah, so I think I would make a difference between recording in the studio and going on tour, because in studio you of course can decide if a voice not sounds like 100% anymore, then for the quality of the album we just decide together, okay, let's take one day off and then try again with a fresh voice or something like that. So there's no special like strategy behind it or any secret rituals. It's just listening to your own voice and getting a feeling when it's better to take a break before really ruining the voice for several days. And when we are on tour, it's really managing to get through one tour leg, let's say, of 3 or 4 shows before we take 3 or 4 days off. So we are not the typical band that can play like 13 shows in 2 weeks. We rather play extended weekends to give our artists the chance to recover.
Yeah. We hear of things where artists drink lemon tea or don't talk when they're not on stage and things like that. Do you guys do anything like that?
We drink a lot of water on stage, so that's true. And besides, I mean, with CANTO, you have to take a little bit more care, perhaps, about your condition than if you're just a guitar player. Then you can perfectly play a great gig with a headache or with a hangover, perhaps even. But a singer is not really should not do that. So yeah, it's a little bit more. Well, what's the English word? It's not partying all the time, but also having in mind that there are some fans on the next show that also paid for some tickets and want to see the full power of an a cappella band. We have to move the partying always to the last show of a tour leg.
Yep.
And then we have to take it.
So, bringing it back to the album, we talked a little bit before about how having the lockdowns and everything meant that you had an extended period of time to write the songs. Tell us a little bit about that songwriting period and what kind of things were inspiring you to write this time around.
Yeah, so we we planned to write and record an album in 2020 anyway. So we just had like 3 festivals planned, and the rest of the year was planned for production anyway. And the last gig we played in 2019 was on a German metal festival called Summer Breeze, and on this festival we appearance by former lead singer who was with us for the first 6 albums of the band before he left. And he joined us on stage for 2 or 3 songs, and it was real fun and also very good in the group in this setup. So we decided to, if he wants to be a guest singer on like 2 songs perhaps. And then when the pandemic kicked in and we all had more time, we decided to make it a guest appearance on the full album, and therefore the songwriting and arrangement process changed, because for the first time we wrote songs with 3 lead singers in mind, which was a special situation for us, but also great boost creativity if you are allowed to write songs that you can distribute between 3 very different lead singers.
Okay, so what's that writing process like for you? Do you spend time sitting down and writing track after track, or does it take a few months for you to actually get everything down on paper before you're actually ready to go in and record?
Yeah, I think the latter. So it's not that we write one song and then entirely produce it, but rather, I mean, we are going in this album tour schedule now for 15 years. So it's, do we want to write a new album? And then we start songwriting. And usually from the very first idea to the final master we present to the record company is like perhaps 12 months, around 12 months. Time it was perhaps 2 or 3 months longer. And the songwriting does not look so much different compared to a regular metal band. So we sit down with like a guitar and play a riff or some chords on piano. And the difference really lies in the arrangement if the composition is done, and then we have to distribute the chords and the notes for all the singers. And that's the part where it's different from a regular band. And if we record, it's just, again, like a regular band, starting with drums, then rhythm singers, bass singers, lead singers, and so on.
Was there any topics or anything, what was going on in the world? Do you feel that kind of also influenced what you were writing at the time as well?
I'm not so sure. So not directly, I guess. I mean, we're not a band with any political message or any message about current state of society or something. We had one concept album some years ago with Voices of Fire, where it really was about a story that we wanted to write the songs to. But this time it's not a concept album, so the songs are not interconnected with each other. And with CANTO, it's most of the time it's motivational topics like believe in your inner strength and do the things that you want to do no matter what others tell you. And these kind of motivational topics have always been part of CANTO lyrics. Perhaps they have a special meaning in these days when, I mean, the whole world locks down and you have some doubts about everything. Perhaps then some motivational music surely helps.
Definitely. And also there's the amazing covers on there as well. Tell us a little bit about how you go about choosing which tracks you want to cover, because there are so many amazing tracks out there. How do you actually narrow it down to the ones that you want to cover on each album?
Yeah, good question. So first of all, of course, we have to like the song that we're covering. With 8 musicians involved, it's of course not the case that everybody has exactly the same favorites, but at least all of us really like the songs we're covering. It would make no sense if somebody says this is a band I cannot stand, then we would not cover it. And especially the lead singer has to have a strong connection to the original, because otherwise you would directly hear it from performing side if he's not going in for 100%. Then this time, of course, we wanted to do covers that show the different ranges of our different lead singers. So we wanted to pick one cover for each lead singer. But as Hagen can go very high, like in AC/DC, and very low, like in a Monomath, he had to sing 2 covers. And then somehow the covers have to fit into the album concept as well. So if we perhaps have 4 fast songs already on the album, then we most probably would not pick 4 covers that are also in a higher speed, but somehow try to present a complete range of vocal and music styles on a CANTO album.
You mentioned about the ranges there. One of the most important things when you're covering a track is to make the track your own. How much time do you spend on arrangements and planning before you even go into the studio when you're doing a cover so that it does become your track almost?
Yeah, I think the first decision comes quite fast, and it's the decision if we want to recreate something, so really take the original and sing it note by note, so to say, or if we want to take the original more as an inspiration to do our own arrangement of it. So, for example, on the current album, Thunderstruck and Raise Your Horns were more the songs where we really original and took every note and tried to recreate it with voices. And Run to the Hills, and also I Want It All was more like taking the original spirit but moving it a little bit into perhaps on Run to the Hills in a little bit more modern arrangement, or in All with a little bit more focus on the lead guitar singing and so on. So this decision comes quite fast because you notice if a song is a great song because of the production back then and because it has something special in the arrangement itself, or if it's more a song that transports a certain spirit, like Run to the Hills, which also works in completely different instrumentations. You could also do a Run to the Hills cover on piano or a ballad even, because it's more the harmonies and the pulse of the song that defines the composition in my understanding.
Awesome. Well, they sound absolutely amazing. So congratulations for that. And I guess my next question is, where to now for you? Because normally you would have an album coming out and you'd be doing shows and heading out onto the European festival circuit. Does it look like any of those festivals will be going ahead this year, or what have you got planned for the rest of this year?
Yeah, so it's really a special time that we promote an album without announcing the tour right away. So the festivals that we booked for 2020 have first been postponed to 21, and now they are postponed to 22. There are some things some festivals on the horizon that are not yet cancelled for this year, but my gut feeling is, to be honest, that before next summer it will not happen so much here in Europe. We plan this year to promote the album release itself, have some videos out to at least show the people that we are still here, and then hope for the summer festival season next year, and then we take it from there.
Definitely. Well, I know that a lot of your Australian fans want to help any way that they can, so we'll also put a link there for your merchandise as well with the interview, so that people will be able to grab some merchandise. And I guess to finish off, what would you like to say to your Australian fans before they go out and grab a copy of this brand new album?
Yeah, I'd say, first of all, thank you for the interest in CANTO. I mean, if somebody is open-minded enough to listen to a metal band without guitars, he will surely be open-minded enough to all the different styles that we present on the current album. And yeah, give it a listen. And if you're still interested in listening to an entire album and not only selected songs on a Spotify playlist, then of course you are very welcome to get a copy of the full album, including artwork, photos, and everything old school, so to say.
Definitely. Well, Stefan, thank you so much for chatting to us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure, and we cannot wait to see you back in Australia sometime once this crazy world goes back to normal.
Thank you. Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Definitely. All right. I'll let you go. Have a great day. Hopefully we talk again soon.
Thank you very much.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.